Welcome back to the Anime Verse Hubs. Don't forget to subscribe and help us hit the 10,000 subscribers. Milestone. Today we're diving into a record of a mortal's journey to immortality, Cultivation Saga. Remember, this is based on the novel, research, and previous episodes, so it won't be 100% similar to the next Donghua version. Today we will dive into what truly happened in episode 161 and what to expect in the upcoming episode. And without further ado, let's go into the story. The episode opens with an absolutely chilling scene that demonstrates the sheer power and ruthless efficiency of a true Nascent Soul cultivator. As anxiousness filled the grand hall where dozens of core formation and foundation establishment experts had gathered for what they believed would be a celebration, the voice of an unfamiliar man spoke with devastating authority. Those present are restricted from leaving this hall for 2 hours. Those who disobey will be killed. After those 2 hours are over, you may leave as you wish. What makes this moment incredibly terrifying is not just the words themselves, but the way they were delivered. Simple and cold, yet carrying an indescribable malice that shook the hearts of every single cultivator present. Regardless of their cultivation level, these weren't empty threats from some arrogant young master. This was the absolute declaration of someone who possessed the power to back up every single word with devastating consequences. The cultivators in the room, despite their own considerable strength, were greatly relieved when they realized from his tone that he had no intention of killing them. However, they clearly understood, with growing dread, that they were spared most likely because they hadn't seen the man's true appearance, a tactical decision that demonstrated incredible foresight and strategic thinking. None dared to disobey him, and as for taking revenge for the Fu clan, the thought itself was an absolute joke. Even if one had the capability, who would feud with a Nascent Soul cultivator over the mere Fu clan? What followed was perhaps one of the most psychologically devastating scenes in the entire series. The 2 hours passed by neither fast nor slowly, creating an atmosphere of unbearable tension. During this time, apart from a few terrified whispers among the trapped guests, screams of anguish occasionally came from the outside. Screams that were curt and lasted only a moment, demonstrating the incredible efficiency and overwhelming power of their mysterious captor. It was clear that none in the Fu clan castle was able to retaliate as they were systematically killed. Their decades or even centuries of cultivation rendered utterly meaningless against this unstoppable force. The cultivators in the hall felt their hearts tremble upon hearing these screams, each of them guessing with growing horror that the Fu clan had offended an expert or great power and was being exterminated as a result. There were many in the hall that felt schadenfreude, or pity for the Fu clan, but what they didn't realize was that they were witnessing the methodical execution of a plan that had been years in the making, a plan driven by loyalty, friendship, and the unbreakable bonds formed in youth. After the time it took to finish a cup of tea, the screams in Fu Castle had ceased completely, and the outside became as silent as death itself. The guests glanced at one another with fear and uncertainty, but none of them dared to act rashly, understanding that their lives hung by the thinnest of threads. Once the 2 hours had passed, the man's voice didn't return, leaving an eerie silence that spoke volumes about the completeness of his work. In the end, one of the braver core formation cultivators decided to test their freedom and safely left the hall. In the following moment, the other guests began to rush out with overwhelming relief, desperate to escape what had become a tomb for one of the region's most powerful clans. The scene inside of Fu Clan Castle was absolutely devastating beyond imagination. Every direct descendant was killed, and their corpses were reduced to ash, leaving no trace of their existence. Only the outer disciples and ordinary mortals were spared, completely unaware of the calamity that had unfolded right beneath their feet, a mercy that demonstrated the mysterious cultivator's precise control and his ability to distinguish between the guilty and the innocent. News of the Fu clan's complete annihilation spread like wildfire across the state of Yuanwu, shaking the cultivation world to its very foundations. The Devil Flame sect, which had lost 2 of its most powerful enforcers in the massacre, put on an elaborate show of rage, vowing revenge with theatrical fury. But everyone who possessed even a shred of intelligence knew the absolute truth. Killing a Nascent Soul cultivator was near impossible. and attempting it would likely result in their own sect's complete destruction. Meanwhile, Fu Clan's vast holdings, accumulated over generations of careful expansion and ruthless business practices, were swiftly divided among rival powers like vultures descending upon a fresh corpse. The speed with which these divisions occurred revealed the true nature of cultivation, world politics. Loyalty meant nothing when faced with the opportunity for advancement. What the cultivation world didn't know was that the mastermind behind this devastating operation was none other than Han Li, the same unassuming cultivator who had once been dismissed as unremarkable. After annihilating the clan with his incredible Gold Devouring Beetles, spirit insects that possessed the terrifying ability to devour anything in their path, he journeyed to the secluded mountain where Xin Ruyin, a cherished friend long gone, had once lived in peaceful seclusion. Carrying the severed head of Fu Clan's ancestor Fu Tianhua like a grim trophy, Han Li sought to fulfill his old promise of vengeance for Xin Ruyin and Xianxia, two people whose deaths had left permanent scars on his heart and shaped his path toward ultimate power. There, in a moment that would change the trajectory of Han Li's cultivation journey forever, he encountered a descendant of Servant Mei, Xin Ruyin's loyal maid from years past. Recognizing Han Li from a portrait that had been passed down through generations like a sacred relic, she revealed with trembling hands that Xin Ruyin had left behind a jade box, meant only for him once Fu Clan was finally destroyed. Inside this seemingly simple container was an ancient jade slip, sealed with a talisman so powerful that Mei's ancestor had once tried to peek inside, only to cough blood and faint from the spiritual backlash. None had dared attempt it again, understanding that some secrets were meant only for specific individuals. Han Li, however, with his incredible spiritual sense and profound understanding of formation arts, easily dispelled the restriction, revealing secrets of absolutely staggering value that would make even nascent soul cultivators fight to the death. Records of grand formations from antiquity, formations so powerful and sophisticated that they were unrivaled in the current era, knowledge that could potentially allow him to defend against entire sect armies or create impregnable strongholds. Though cautious by nature and understanding the incredible dangers involved in Devil Dao techniques, Han Li couldn't suppress his excitement as he realized the true magnitude of what Xin Ruyin had left for him. As repayment for this incredible gift and to honor the loyalty shown by Servant Mei's bloodline, Han Li gifted the woman's son a foundation establishment pill in support of elixirs, treasures worth more than most cultivation families possessed in their entire treasury, granting the boy a genuine chance to step onto the true cultivation path and potentially achieve greatness. To safeguard the absolute secrecy of this exchange and protect the family from potential retaliation, Han Li used the incredibly sophisticated dream tear technique to erase all memory of himself from the woman's mind, leaving her to believe she had merely encountered a benevolent senior who had gifted her medicine out of kindness. He then paid his final respects before the memorial tablets of Xin Ruyin and Xianxia, incinerated Fu Clan's ancestor's head in a ritual that symbolized the completion of his revenge, and departed in complete silence, his heart finally free from the burden of unfulfilled oaths. On his journey away from the scene of his triumph, Han Li confided in Silvermoon, his artifact spirit and closest confidant. The Jade Slip's records, he explained with carefully controlled excitement, contained incredible formation techniques from antiquity and knowledge that could potentially advance his cultivation to unprecedented heights. Though he resolved, with characteristic caution, to examine it carefully before attempting anything so incredibly dangerous. Rather than return immediately to the Drifting Cloud sect, where questions might be asked about his recent absence, Han Li chose instead to visit the state of Yue, his mortal birthplace, to sever lingering ties and free his heart of worldly burdens before pursuing the Tao further. A decision that demonstrated his incredible wisdom and understanding of cultivation principles. Meanwhile, completely unaware of Han Li's recent activities, another storm was brewing that would soon intersect with his path in unexpected ways. The Spirit Controlling Sect had suffered a devastating loss when they discovered that the priceless wood spirit Nascent, a treasure worth more than entire kingdoms, had been lost after a guard named Cultivator Ding attempted to merge with it against orders and perished in the process. Their disciples, terrified of the sect's punishment and understanding that their very lives depended on recovering this treasure, scoured the land in increasingly desperate searches. Some of the more intelligent disciples began to suspect with growing certainty that the cultivator who had seized the spirit Nascent was connected to the mysterious expert who had exterminated the Fu clan. As they debated their next course of action with increasing urgency, the Spirit Controlling Sect sent Han Yunji and Liu Yu, two white-robed female cultivators blessed with incredibly rare wood spiritual roots and possessing the unique ability to sense the wood spirit Nascent's location. A development that signaled a new conflict was about to unfold. Thus, Han Li closed one chapter of his remarkable journey, fulfilling a vow of vengeance for fallen friends with devastating completeness, only to step into another chapter where ancient secrets, powerful formation techniques, and looming sect rivalries awaited him. What happens next as Han Li begins to study the ancient formation records? Will the Spirit Controlling Sect discover his connection to the missing wood spirit Nascent? And what incredible challenges await him in the state of Yue? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more incredible cultivation adventures. Your support helps me bring you more amazing content covering the most exciting moments in this incredible series. That's all from me for this episode. Until next time, stay tuned for more devastating battles and incredible plot developments.